Greetings and welcome back to Mavan Studio here in Leitrim's Iron Mountains. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Harriet and I am a visual artist based in Ireland's Northwest. Today's video is another bookbinding tutorial in which I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful rainbow themed book cover for my gratitude journal. I have been including a gratitude practice in my other journals for some time now. Gratitude journaling is the habit of recording and reflecting on the things that you are grateful for on a regular basis. In its essence, you are gradually rewiring your own brain to focus on the more positive aspects of life, which can help build up resilience against negative situations. Throughout history and around the world, philosophers and religions have endorsed the virtues of gratitude. Some have even described it as the social glue that strengthens all relationships, building communities, and serves as the backbone of society. Keeping a gratitude journal is a popular practice in positive psychology and traditionally is referred to as counting your blessings. For my own journaling practice, I wanted to create a system where I could become more habitual with gratitude and decided a more dedicated journal would help me focus. I found this relatively cheap Start with Gratitude book on Amazon. It was less than €10. It's a journal with prompts that ask you questions with a few lines that you can do daily. The spaces are small, with the design intending that you spend about 5 minutes each day filling in the sections. Each day allows you to manually input the date. So if you miss a day or a few days, you can just pick up your practice without leaving any gaps in your journal. When the book arrived, it had quite a flimsy cover, so I wanted to make a hardback cover and upgrade this book to make it into something a little bit more special. You can use this method to cover any paperback book or for a simple composition notebook, creating a cover that you can reuse for a few notebooks when this one is full. So I'm starting out by measuring the size of the existing cover onto a piece of chipboard. This chipboard I just pulled off the back of an A3 sketchbook. Measuring around the book so I could get the basic dimensions, I've added a few millimeters all the way around and marked the width of the spine to one side. I've cut these out with my paper guillotine. If you don't have a guillotine, you can use a craft knife and a ruler, or if your lines are straight, you can follow it very neatly with your scissors. I've just cut these out here and you can see there's a front, a back, and a little piece for the spine. I'm going to cover them with this little piece of patterned cotton. It's an ivory coloured fabric with little spotty brown stars. I just love the nostalgic vintage feel of this fabric. I'm just cutting it here to the right size. My idea for this journal is to create a rainbow of lace ruffles on each side of my cover close to the spine. All of the lace and trim I'm using for this project was sent to me by BB Crafts. They have an amazing array of lace, ribbon and trim cords. They sent me this as part of their YouTube participation program. So if you're interested in this, then you can check out my BB Craft haul video, which I will link below the video. I received such a lovely selection of coloured lace from them, and I think this is what inspired the rainbow theme for this book. The sighting of a rainbow has long believed to be a promise of good things to come, and this commonly stems from God's promise in the biblical story of Noah's Ark. I think it's in Genesis, But there are other beliefs across cultures about rainbows being a symbol of hope and promise. And with this, I think a rainbow theme is so perfect for a gratitude journal. So here I'm just figuring out the design and the colours for my rainbow lace. Usually for ruffling any kind of trim or ribbon or fabric, you will need 3 times the length of the fabric that you are going to be ruffling it against. So this would be the height of my book. So I'm just measuring the lengths of the lace here and getting a little bit of a visual on the rainbow effect. So now I have all of my lace cut. I have marked out a straight line in pencil on the cover of my book where my lace will start. I did a little bit of maths here, and this is measured to half the thickness of the lace times by the number of colours for spacing. When I've got an indication of where it's going to start, I'm just pinning the first piece into place. For stitching the ruffle, I will be using my sewing machine, but if you don't have access to a sewing machine, you can sew this by hand. I recommend pinning the lace at each fold in your ruffle and then just sewing a straight stitch with a needle and thread across the whole thing. But here I will be showing you how to do the ruffle on my sewing machine. I started by threading up my sewing machine with a light blue cotton thread. I chose this because it reminds me of the sky, so it seemed to suit the rainbow theme. Following my little pencil line that I have measured and drawn, I use the foot of my machine to anchor down the lace. When my lace is in position, I'm just going to drop the foot and remove the pin. And then I'm going to sew over it and back over it just to hold it in place. Starting my ruffles, I'm going to pinch up the lace and sew over it, and then pinch up the next bit of lace and sew over it, and do this repetitively all the way down the fabric, and then cut off any excess. So I'm going to repeat this process for the rest of the coloured lengths of lace that I have cut. If you notice, behind my machine, I have kept the reams of lace in the rainbow spectrum that I had worked out, just so I could have a visual to refer to when introducing each piece of my ruffled rainbow. Once my first colour lilac was done, I'm lining up the next piece of lace, which is the blue, and making sure that it's just a little bit over the lilac lace. So the blue piece is going to hide the stitching on the lilac lace and cover it about halfway. I'm creating a layered effect, ruffling it by tucking it up and sewing over the lace, tucking up the lace and sewing over it all the way down the book cover. Once this is done, I'm just repeating for each of the pieces of coloured lace. Each time I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can. I'm using the bottom layer of lace that I've already sewn as my guide, just keeping them visually parallel. Finishing each line of stitching by pressing the little reverse switch on the sewing machine and sewing backwards. This helps prevent the stitching from coming undone once you cut the excess off. This is such a lovely effect. You can see all the ruffles together, creating a beautiful tactile quality. It kind of reminds me of French knickers or lacy bloomers. I love the rainbow theme, and as I mentioned before, the rainbow has a place in legends across cultures. because of its natural beauty and the historical difficulty in explaining how the phenomenon came about. In Greek mythology, the rainbow was considered to be a path made by the gods, messenger Iris, between the earth and the heavens. And in Tibetan Buddhism, it is said that a certain meditation practice can alter the appearance of the body, transforming it into 5 radiant lights. The name given to this physical fluorescence is the rainbow body, and the rainbow body is supposedly the ultimate state of enlightenment. In Chinese mythology, the rainbow is associated with the goddess Nuwa, who sealed the broken sky after a fight amongst the gods, with stones of 7 different colours, the colours of the rainbow. Here in Ireland, the leprechaun's secret hiding place for his pot of gold is said to be at the end of the rainbow. This place is impossible to reach because the rainbow is an optical effect which depends on the location of the viewer. When walking towards the end of the rainbow, it will appear to move further and further away. In Hindu and some New Age philosophies, the 7 colours of the rainbow represent the 7 chakras, from the first chakra red to the 7th chakra violet. With all these curious and spiritual themes surrounding the rainbow, for me it is a perfect fit for a book full of positivity. Gratitude has often been referred to as the fastest route to enduring happiness by writing things down that we are grateful for. Even through challenging times, we can help shift our mindset into a more positive one. So once I have done all of the colours, I repeated this again on the other side of the book, marking it again with the pencil and pinning down the first colour into place. So once both sides were done, I decided to cut the fabric into 2 separate sides and add some additional fabric for the spine of the book. I chose a thick red linen fabric. This is stronger than the cotton that I used to do my ruffles on, which will help strengthen the spine of the book, which will over time take the most abuse. Attaching it now to the chipboard support, which I have covered in carpet tape, which is just a super strong tape. Covering the chipboard with carpet tape is a technique that I have used on other books that I have made. Using tape instead of glue will prevent the glue from seeping into your fabric and causing it to stiffen and lose its soft tactile quality. I'm using my cutting mat, so I will be able to cut away any excess of tape neatly with my blade. When I'm ready, I'm going to pull off the backing tape. With the 2 pieces ready to attach to my supports, I'm adding the spine fabric separately with my red fabric. There is a little gap, so I added a couple of layers of my red cotton trim over it. This is the same colour as the linen. I'm actually going to double it up. I love the look of this, and the combination of the nylon trim against the cotton trim, I think it adds a luxurious quality to the edge of my book. The cotton lace is also from the BB Craft haul, and it has this little thin double-sided tape on one side already attached, so it's very easy just to pop that into place without any sewing or glue. So I'm just sticking some tape on the inside of the cover here and using it to stick down the edges of my fabric, folding them around to the inside of my cover. Now I have an indication on how my book is going to look from the outside, and now it's time to focus on the inside of my cover. I'm going to add my inside lining paper. For this, I have just cut out 2 pieces of Fabriano watercolor paper, which I have measured to size. This is a lovely thick paper, it's 300 GSM. It will smooth out any of the bulkiness of the tucked in fabric edges that will be beneath it. I don't want the inside of the spine to be sticky at all, so before I put the cover paper down, I'm adding a little bit more of the red fabric over the inside of my spine. This will allow my cover to be a little bit more flexible around the spine, folding the red fabric to the right height and sticking it down into the carpet tape which I have already put in place. So now with my 2 pieces of cover paper, I've decided to stick down a pocket on one side using the excess of the cover fabric that is hanging off the edge. I've created a little pocket for tucking one side of your book into. This is a very simple creation and there is no sewing here. I've used a thin piece of double-sided tape to create a taped hem and to stick the fabric into place, creating this little pocket. The carpet tape is very strong, so you can trust that it will be a strong hold for your book. Trimming it here to the right size and sticking it down to create the fabric pocket. I've added a bit of lace to one side to make it tidy and tuck it all in. So now I have one side of my book cover done. Now to stick the inside cover paper to the other side of my cover. Again, like I did with the first piece, I covered the inside cover paper with some of the carpet tape and cut off any of the excess with my craft knife. Instead of creating another pocket, I decided this time to add a lace band to this side and tuck the opposite side of my book into it. This is much looser and will add flexibility to the book's movement. Keeping my rainbow theme, I added my lace band arranged in the same rainbow spectrum I used for my ruffled lace on my cover. And this is what it looks like. So next I'm just sticking a little bit more of the carpet tape over the folded edges of lace on the inside, and when I'm ready I'm just going to stick that down to finish the cover. So here I have my cover and I'm ready to put in my book. It was a little bit of a tight squeeze, but it was a perfect fit. Slipping the other side of my back cover underneath my lace band and just pushing it in, tucking it all into place. So here is my gratitude journal and I'm absolutely thrilled with how this came out. It feels so much more substantial than it did before. It's really changed the whole feel of the book for me. I love it so much I might actually remember to write in it every day with its lovely bright rainbow lace detailing. We're coming to the end of my video now. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you found this tutorial useful. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I hope you all have a wonderful and inspiring week, and I hope to see you all again soon for another video. Bye bye.